Now, I couldn't have thought of anything worse in that given moment. It was the scariest moment of my life. Morning guys, so we have just left the office and we're on our way to Oldham Sixth Form College. Today we're going to be talking all about entrepreneurship and how a grade doesn't determine your future. So if you're a student and you're interested to hear more about how to start your own business, how to run a business, but most importantly, how to get a career without a grade, and letting you know that school isn't the be-all and end-all of your future, and that it is possible to do absolutely anything if you put your mind to it. So stay tuned in this video and you're going to hear more about my story and more about the talks we have with students to hear more about how you can live a future of your dreams. Who enjoys school? Be honest. Who enjoys college school? Wow. Great. Well, it's nice to know I'm in the same boat as most of you, because I absolutely hated school. I was the class clown. I was the person that found more entertainment out of winding up my students and fellow friends, which I didn't have many because I wound them all up, and my teachers because I hated school. But my drama teacher seen something in me. I was very good at drama because it wasn't sat in a classroom reading out of a book. I found that so outdated and I hated it, right? So I really like drama. So depending on how old I know many of you are, who's watched Waterloo Road? Cool. Who remembers a character called Denzel Kelly? Hi. So what happened was I was good at drama. My drama teacher picked up the fact that I was good at acting. And then I went to an audition for a show called Waterloo Road, which was at the time was one of the nation's most watched series. And just by luck, I managed to land it. So before I knew it, from being a little bugger in school, I actually started to get paid to be a little bugger. And I was actually spending the majority of my time on the TV set, which was all well and good. But what happened was, after 5 years, that's all I thought as a student, right? When you're in school, you kind of think of your situation in your classroom, you don't really look ahead, you don't really think, what is my future going to entail? Many of us don't. I call it society's conveyor belt. It's so easy just to go through the process of school and college and uni, and before you know it, you're in a job just to earn a paycheck, and only 30 years down the line do you look back and think, God, I wish I could have done something else. And there'd be nothing worse than sat on your deathbed wishing that you'd have done something that you knew you really were passionate about and excelled. So what happened with me is, after Waterloo Road, I got a call one day on the wanted to do casualty, and it was from the art department, and this is me being really open and honest with you guys. And this phone conversation was from a lady called Tina who I got on really well with on TV set. And she said, Reese, can I have a recent photo of you? So I said, what do you want a recent photo of me for? You know, I don't know if I'm coming back to the new series of Waterloo Road. I've not heard anything. She goes, you're dead. We're 4 weeks into filming your funeral. So I was like, oh my God. So I've been on this TV show for 4 years, and only a phone call did I find out that my career, what I thought was my whole future, had ended. And for me, that spurred anxiety, depression, and a lot of pressure on me then to sit back and question, what the hell am I going to do with myself? For this kid that has been recognised on TV now has to suddenly open himself up to the big wide world and make something of himself. Because all I had at the minute was recognition for being on TV as an actor. And my dream was to continue acting, it's all I knew at the time, right? But what I found out was that unless your agent calls you and gives you an opportunity to go to that audition, you're not necessarily getting the part. So I'd realised that I was put in a situation I wasn't in control of. And that's a scary place to be, and certainly with all the pressure that I already had. And there was a day that I woke up one morning after going through depression and anxiety, and my stepdad knocked on the door. And he banged on my bedroom door, and he said, get out of bed. I said, why, what's going on? Has something happened? He goes, no. He goes, welcome to the real world, Reese. You're not on TV anymore, and it's time for you to get a real job and start a real lifestyle. Now, I couldn't have thought of anything worse in that given moment. It was the scariest moment of my life. And when I got into my parents' bedroom, he was there ironing a crisp shirt that he'd obviously bought the night before. So then, therefore, I had to quickly go downstairs and write a CV. Waterloo Road. I had no GCSEs, I had nothing else to go off, right? But then something happened. I got a knock at the door downstairs. And I thought, let me just go downstairs and check if there's anything to get me away from looking at this shirt being ironed. I couldn't think of anything worse. So anyway, it was the postman. And when I opened up that letter, there was something called royalties as an actor. And royalties basically means if your show, Waterloo Road, was seen on a different TV programme or a different series, you got paid for that. And it was a £5 cheque. So with that £5 cheque, I kindly went back upstairs. I put that cheque on my stepdad's ironing board, still being a little bugger, and I said, iron that, I'm going back to bed. And that's exactly what I did. But don't get me wrong, did I go to sleep? No, because I was hitting myself. I thought, Jesus, something out there is looking out for me to tell me that I need to continue going. I need to move forward. And that money wasn't for me to spend, that bought me time. And with that £5, it gave me a few months to really figure out what the hell I wanted to do myself. So I retraced my steps back on Waterloo Road. I thought, what did I really enjoy doing? Now, because I built up quite a large social media following from being on Waterloo Road, on my Instagram and on my Twitter, this was before Instagram really got big, I got a lot of brands asking to send me stuff. So who's heard of influence marketing here? Okay, cool. So before influence marketing was really a big buzzword, and for anybody that didn't hold their hands up, influence marketing basically means brands have the ability to market through people of influence on social media, rather than your standard billboards or your TV channels or your magazines, right? So because I've built up quite a large social media following, brands were asking to send me products. And this was of all shapes and sizes. And I took full advantage of it while I was in the green room, because as an actor you spend most of your time sat there doing nothing. So I was getting flying drones. Has anybody heard of a brand called Canada Goose? Yeah. Cool. We all know it's a premium coat company, right? So this is the big wake-up call for me, which I was sat in bed after that £5 cheque and I thought, I could potentially have a business here. What I'd realised was that Canada Goose had asked me to go on their website and pick some products. And they give me £6 worth of products, which is incredible, right? But for me, as much as I was buzzing over these coats, what I'd realised was that this brand, who was so prestigious, and as we all know are expensive, as smart to get to where they are, to be the brand they are, how could they make such a critical mistake? And that mistake was advertising through me as an influencer. And what do I mean by that? Well, if you had actually looked at my audience on Twitter, you would have seen that 80% of them were girls, okay? And Canada Goose had sent me male products. So they were asking me to advertise their male product to a female audience, which for me that was a clicking moment, it was a light bulb. I thought, wow, how could they make such a fundamental mistake, right? So I thought, okay, well, I'm not making money for getting all these free products. Yeah, I could stick them on eBay, but I'm not making a business. So I decided to flip the model. I thought rather than extort brands for all these products, let me try and help them instead. So that's what I did. Back in 2015, I started a little agency, and initially I called it Brand Endorsement. And I used all my celebrity friends, and I helped brands advertise through all my celebrity friends. Now, when you think of an influencer, give me a first name that pops in your head. Go on, give me a name. Who? Molly May. Give us another one. Come on, big influencer. KSI.
Jeff Bezos.
Jeff Bezos, that's a good one. I can't believe none of you have mentioned Kim Kardashian, right? She's like the biggest one, right? So when you think of influencers, that's what brands used to think of influencers. Your Kim Kardashian, your David Beckhams. Now these are influencers with huge audiences. Huge audiences. So initially when I started my agency and I was advertising through these celebrities with huge audiences, I wasn't getting the results that I wanted. And that's because I'd realised that these massive influencers had built their audience for various different reasons. Whether that's because they've watched the Kardashian show, whether it's maybe they've seen a brand that they're interested in, maybe they've seen a product that Kim Kardashian's selling that they wanted to follow for various different reasons. So what I started to do was focus smaller. Not your Kim Kardashians, these were individuals with smaller audiences, which we now call micro-influencers. And what I'd started to do was work with micro-influencers at scale, which help brands build brand awareness, create content, and generate sales. But logistically, it became a nightmare for me. If you can imagine me bringing on a small brand, I had to outreach to 100 different influencers, ask them to agree on a campaign, to pick a product, to make sure they posted on time, to make sure they'd wrote what they said they would write, and then to measure the impact of that. And also as well, the one critical problem I had was that I also didn't know who the audience were of these influencers. That information wasn't accessible to me. So I decided with that £5 grand check that I'd had, that I wanted to build a technical solution, because that was the way that I knew I could logistically fix this problem and generate a business. So following Waterloo Road being finished and having this small agency, knowing that I had this logistical problem, I then decided that I knew I needed to look into tech to give me the access to the information I needed to run strategic campaigns with brands and micro-influencers. So I went to a place called Tech Manchester. Now, who here obviously wants to start a business? And know the majority of you said you did. Now, just put your hand up again if you said you wanted to start a business. Okay, cool. So you there, just put your hand up. Tell me why you want to start a business.
Because it's got your own time. You can just it's independent.
Cool. And you said? What was the first word you said? Who said money? Cool. So when you say you want to start a business, obviously the first thing that comes into mind is money, right? When we think of owning your own business, you think money. The second thing that you also said is time. You have your own time. Well, I'm going to tell you guys the truth. That's the opposite of what I had. I didn't have any money. I didn't generate any money. I knew I just had a problem. And second of all, you said independence and time. I had none of it. Because from when I wanted to fix this problem, I put every single hour of the day into it. I didn't have that opportunity to go out with friends in those early stages, or have that independence or the money to spend it anywhere. I just knew that if I knew the future I really wanted to build and care about and provide for my children for through this business, that it needed my blood, sweat and tears. And that's something that didn't give money and it didn't give time. It was the opposite. So it's definitely something for you guys to bear in mind. For 4 years I sat in a cold office in Tech Manchester with just an idea. I couldn't write a line of code, but I needed to build a tech product. I associated with as many people as I possibly could that had tech, and I tried to get into social circles where they could help me. And it was only since the pandemic, and I'm going to tell you guys the full truth about this, that something came about called the bounce back loan. The bounce back loan was for businesses that give them the ability to earn money. Well, the government would give you money basically to help you get you through the hard times. So through the bounce back loan, I managed to secure £50,000. Now with that £50,000 I managed to secure, I reinvested that into my business. I turned around to a tech company and I said, here's £50,000, would you be interested in matching me? You can build the tech, here's some money for me to show you that I'm interested. And they agreed. So only since last month now have I actually built a technical product which is now worth £100,000. And still 5 years down the line, I've not got money and I've not got independence. I've only got stress, anxiety to try and make this work, because it's a graft. Although social media tells us entrepreneurs are sexy, right? It's free, it's money, you've got stuff to spend on. Well, the reality of it is, when you're starting out, it's quite the opposite. In fact, it's one of the hardest things you'll ever do. But the rewards of that is what keeps me going every day. And one thing I want you guys to take away from this is that I came from writing not a line of code. I didn't have a penny in my pocket, and I didn't have a GCSE. And for you guys all sat here telling me you want to start your own business, you're all a step ahead of me in the fact that you've actually got grades and you've actually got, an idea that you can work off. And hearing your ideas today has been absolutely fantastic. And there's so much potential between all of you. So actually 80% of your success for each and every one of you isn't going to be your ideas. It's going to be how much you guys actually want it. So honestly, I hope I've inspired you with that chat, telling you a bit more about my story. And I hope to see some of your faces in the future, and obviously with successful business owners. But you've all been fantastic today, and thank you for listening to my story, guys. What an eventful morning that was at Oldham College. A great group of students with an inspiration to start their own business. We finished up the morning there now at Oldham College. We're going to be heading back to the office to sign up our first ever client who's going to be using Social Plug and our paid social strategy. And that just shows after today, and hopefully after watching this full video, you can see that you don't necessarily need a grade to determine your future, and that you can become anything if you want, if you put your mind to it and you want it enough.